Hi, welcome to the Tom Batelson Show. This is going to be a deep dive today all day long. I've got so much notes in front of me because I couldn't keep track of everything on the timeline. We're going to talk about Andor. If you haven't watched that, go and watch that now. Tons of spoilers in here. Andor is a great series following the tales of Cassian Andor, who leads the Resistance partially and then meets his final demise at the end of Rogue One. It's a look of enslavement and what it takes to build an empire by oppressing millions of people. It's the darkest that Star Wars has gone, and it's the whole reason behind the entire rebellion, and it's great. I really enjoyed it. It's fantastic. But let's look at the Star Wars timeline from the all-powerful internet. Okay, ready for it? 65 BBY. BBY stands for Before the Battle of Yavin. Yavin is when the original Death Star blows up and Luke destroys it from A New Hope. That's what BBY means. Again, learning curve on this, an entire learning curve. And ABY is after the Battle of Yavin. That's how everything is designed in the Star Wars universe. 65 BBY, Palpatine kills his entire family and becomes a Sith Lord. Yeah, that's not in the movie, but that's when they say it happens. In 41 BBY, Anakin Skywalker is born. In 33 BBY, Cassian Andor is born. And then it happens to 32 BBY, 32 years before the Death Star is blown up, is the battle for Naboo. The Separatists are defeated and the clone army is ordered. That's the most important part. The clone army, the order for the clone army goes in at the Battle of Naboo, according to the internet, according to the Star Wars universe. That means at 19 BBY, when Order 66 comes out, it took 12 to 13 years to build the clone army, to build the stormtroopers, to help build the Empire. Okay. After that, it takes 19 years to build the Death Star. So they got their force and they've got everything all set up, and that's what Andor goes into. It goes into the slavery about building it a big thing. When he's imprisoned, I get the idea that they're building the Death Star, or they're building ships, they're building. So, they enslave everybody to build the Death Star. That's 20 years to build the Death Star, and it's only operational during A New Hope. It is only operational during A New Hope when Grand Moff Tarkin, played by Peter Cushing, says we've decided to test this planet, this station's destructive power on your home planet of Alderaan. What did he say? He pronounces things differently. Yeah, but Alderaan? Alderaan. I'll paraphrase George Lucas when he said, people pronounce things differently in the real world. Why would they pronounce things differently in his world? For instance, how many different ways have you heard this word pronounced? Yeah, so at 5-0, Battle Before Yavin is when, Yavin is when Rogue One happens and Cassian Andor's life happens. Everything about the Andor series happens there when he joins the Resistance. And then the Battle of Yavin, Cassian Andor dies just before, and the original Death Star is blown up. Then, 4 years later, 4 years after the Battle of Yavin, Return of the Jedi, the second Death Star is blown up. So, it took them 20 years to build the first Death Star, and then 4 years to build the second one. I think that might have started beforehand. I don't have any notes on that. Okay, so that's how the timeline works. Then 30 years happens. 30 years. There's a break between Jedi and Force Awakens. There's 30 years, and that is my favorite part. Is when Han Solo has to answer those questions. He says, was it real? Were the stories real about the Jedi? It's only 30 years. 30 years is not a long time if you're over 50. If you're under 50, if you're under 30, 30 years is forever. But I love those questions. Was it true about the Jedi? Like if someone asked me, it's like, was it true what happened in the 90s, Tom? Yeah, it was true. All of it. Even the stuff about Boys to Men. Especially the stuff about, wait, what? Yeah, what? Seriously, 30 years. So, 30 years happens and we didn't learn anything from our mistakes because the New Order arises. Han Solo dies in 34 after the Battle of Yavin, and the Star Killer base is blown up. The Star Killer base, a base bigger than any other Death Star made from an entire planet. Where do they get all these people from? They had to enslave more people, and they had to oppress more people. Again, we learn nothing. So to keep this, okay. Oh, also, that's 34 ABY when they blow up Starkiller Base. It's 35. It's only 1 year later, according to it, that the rise of Skywalker happens. Palpatine is back with yet another hidden empire. An entire other fleet of ships that he's been building on Exegol, if I said that right, that he's been building on Exegol. 30 years, okay, Palpatine. In 30 years' time, Palpatine hides the fact that he's dead, builds the New Order with Snoke as his puppet master along with Ben Solo as Kylo Ren, and he has hundreds of thousands of people to build the New Order and the new ships. Simultaneously on Exegol, he's building a whole other army of ships. He killed his family in 65, he dies in 35 ABY, that is 100 years as a Sith Lord. He built 3 empires. What did you do today? What did you do today? My goodness. 30 years, we're supposed to believe that all this stuff happens. That's a big leap of faith. It's a big leap of faith considering how many people it took, how long it takes to do things, and in 30 years he builds 2 empires. It's a big leap of faith. In 1919, the Treaty of Versailles was signed, ending World War I. And 20 years later, in 1939, Hitler and the Nazis invaded Poland with, at that time, was the largest army anybody had ever seen. And it didn't take 30 years, it only took 20. Star Wars and science fiction sometimes can be a cautionary tale about what can happen when you convince people that you're right and you're righteous and there are other people to blame for your current situation. The central message of Star Wars is through tyranny, oppression, and pain, heroes rise. Andor. Go watch Andor. It's great. Shout out from the comments from last episode. We were talking about whether or not it was hard to catch a chicken, like they show in Rocky II and then in Cry Macho with the 90-year-old Clint Eastwood. And Jace Brown said, well, you're right about the chicken. Not as hard as a pig, but he's not catching that bird. I like that you tossed in the pig. We used to say, I never said it, but you know, as hard to catch as a greased pig. Yeah. I don't have any of the pig comments, but thank you, Jace. Thank you for that. Shout out to you. Today's The Way Out has to do with, I was playing a board game with my friends. And we were playing cooperative. It's a cooperative board game, and I'm going to do lots of videos on board games because I love them, and I love sitting down with friends and playing games. It's a great way to spend time together. We were playing a cooperative board game, and you get a list of things your character can do on your turn. You can do this, you can move, you can attack, you can trade things, you can do stuff, and in the rules it says, or you can do nothing. And we were making fun of that throughout the game. We were saying, like, you know, you don't have to do anything, you can do nothing, you can just sit there. And of course, in a game, doing nothing sounds like defeat. You have to do something, you have to move, you have to attack, you have to gather, you have to trade, you have to do things. And it made me think how important it is to sometimes you don't have to do anything. I read lots of self-help books and watch a lot of self-help gurus and do a lot of turns on philosophy, and I'm sure you all do too. And it's always, gotta go, 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 go. Gotta do it, gotta try it now. The sun will rise tomorrow, and where are you gonna be? What are you gonna be doing? What you gonna be, get on top of it and do that thing. Don't forget that there's plenty of time to do nothing, to sit, to breathe, to ponder, to wonder, to relax, to take in what the world has to offer. You don't constantly have to be, remember what it is to do nothing sometimes. Don't think everything has to be worked on every single second. I've been a bartender for my entire adult life, since the 90s. And what you want from the bartender in your life is not to give you advice. You want them to listen. You just want someone to listen to you. To me, that's a big part of the doing nothing. If someone opens up to you, just sit there and listen. Listen, open your head to them. Wonder, ponder, don't offer advice unless they ask for it. And don't forget sometimes to sit. To sit, to let your mind do what it's going to do. Not everything needs to be go, 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 go. That's what meditation is about. Prayer for some, extreme exercise for others to get out of their head. Don't forget for the way out to take inventory on your head. Sometimes it's okay to just do nothing. That's going to be all for today. I want to thank you for joining me, and I appreciate you. Like and subscribe, and chime in on the comments. Till I see you next time, peace, love, live long, and prosper. And I mean that.